Guys, it's Easter Sunday. I walk into the garage and then I'm greeted by this. So it's essentially I can take this motor and build that motor. And that one's completely assembled. I got timing covers and everything. But I would love to take this block and take, possibly a piston out of there and build up this block with, I'm thinking rod bolts. Take a piston, or actually not even a piston, just take a rod from there and build this, right? It comes with the rev up head, all that jazz, whatnot. The only issue is this motor's in fucking pieces. And one of the things that I noticed with the phase camming, you see where the intake phasing is, your VVL, that shit's in pieces. So it's like, if I want to put this motor together, well, with that head, I need to go to the junkyard and get some. It'd be nice to have the bigger cams, but that's kind of out of my budget. No, like in true talk, why? Let me go and I'll take that block with those heads as long as the head's not damaged. Now that's the whole reason of having this bad boy, is I can disassemble her. Everything's good. Just need to open up my ring gap. I think I'm gonna go about 31 thou on the top. I think 28. I'm going the loosest. What do you call it? Well, I could go 10 over. It depends on what the rings are at. I know the FSM calls for about, I think it went from, the top ring was about 18 or 19 thou to 31 thou. As long as that clearance is between there, it's good. Now, I open up the ring gap, get a little bit blow by, but then my system's gonna, the way I have mine ported, that's gonna just, not cause it to smoke in terms of inside the engine bay with that blow valve. That's why I don't really like doing the vent to air, what do you call it, VP, crank, crace setups, PCV. I rather smoke it through the engine just like how a stock does and then spits it out there. But if you do that, you got to put a one-way valve, so when the manifold gets pressure, it locks off and it doesn't pressurize the crank. And then naturally that comes to this damn setup. So I had explained this in the other video before, kind of people. In this car, it's a little bit easier to see. So I have this as my crankcase. It hooks up to the valve there on a T with a check valve. So when the engine's sucking out, that's in vacuum, right? Vacuum sucking out when you're at a standstill. But now when you boost, so it's sucking and then it's sucking air through there. Now when you boost, it's going to lock off, but then naturally the crankcase pressures are going to build up inside there. And based on fluid dynamics or whatever they want to call that shit, the least amount of pressure, the air is going to come out. So that's how I've done mine. Oh shit. But I think what, really the real good thing is if I would have put that to a catch can, what do you call it, so, and then basically that, let's say doesn't get clogged, or I don't what, not in terms of, it builds up so much pressure it spits it out, and that could damn well be clogged. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. That's a simple fix. And that's even if, when I'm on boost, when the check valve is closed, is it smoking? But anyways, back to my original part. I wish this motor came to me assembled. Trying to go after someone else's work, and let's say there was a little shim, something that's not visible on the FSM, some tiny, key slot, or something could be off, and I could just fuck everything up. So it looks like if I want, I can take that block and build it with those heads. So what I was thinking about doing is just doing rod bolts on these Just get some aftermarket rod bolts, put those in, and then see how well them stock rods last. That could be same thing with like the KA. You know, we put on some rod bolts on my stock one, man, and that bitch lasted for about 1.5 years until I overboosted. But that was because of my fault. I didn't have what do you call it, boost cut on my chipped ECU. Well, you can't really, so you put a Hobbs pressure switch that cuts off spark at a certain PSI. So I had that set up, and then that saved me, what do you call it, with the stock motor. Well, actually, no, sorry. That saved me with my original setup. I mean, even I probably didn't even set up, but then even when I went to Mega Squirt, I had boost cut, and I eliminated that, and that shit was straight. But anyways, I'm just rambling. So looks like I'm debating option just rod bolts on there, and then see how long that lasts. And then if it lasts me another year, that's cool. I get to learn that. And then the rod bolts are easy. They're not like stock Ks or, you know, other ones where it's a nut and bolt. These are just a straight bolt. So that's why I'm contemplating too, because it's a little bit easier. I don't have to go. I could just take off that pan and then, you know, change them right there. But then that still doesn't make sense because I need to open up the ring gaps and do that. So basically, it probably might be a whole tear down for itself. But anyhow, we'll get there. The boat's gone. And then also, I'm going to send you guys pictures of the valve cover. I think I'm going to do that shit the same wrinkle like Ferrari red shit. All right, guys. Late.